the most exciting quarterback in college football.
Go big or go home.
This young man, while he's improving as a passer, is an absolute rocket ship with the ball in his hands.
Milroe runs right up the middle, gets through a tackle, he is into the end zone.
I'm cool with being underrated. It's a grind, you know.
Jalen Milroe has been one of the top dual-threat quarterbacks in college football over the last 2 seasons. Over that span, he was responsible for 71 touchdowns, and 32 of those came on the ground. He also averaged the 7th most yards per pass attempt and ranked 14th in total QBR. And we are excited to be joined by Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe a couple of weeks here ahead of the draft. Jalen, thanks so much for joining us. Just playing at Alabama, playing for Nick Saban and then Kalen DeBoer, what about that experience and those guys do you feel has helped prepare you for the NFL?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, number one, being able to be coached by Coach Saban is a unique experience for sure. He got the best out of all his players that he had on roster. To be able to learn under him, be able to have a defensive-minded coach only makes you better at the quarterback position. And so I always enjoyed my process was there. You know, one thing I definitely learned from him was enjoy the process and his beauty in the process and trusting in it. And so as long as I was going in the process of being a quarterback position at school, he made me better each and every day. And then to have my final season with Coach DeBoer, I don't take it for granted at all. I love everything about Coach DeBoer. Being able to learn even more at the quarterback position with him being offensive-minded, also a play caller before 2023 season. And so it's been great just to have those great coaches, those unique strategies they pour in their players. And so now it's all about being the best version of myself and able to learn from them.
Now, another former Alabama quarterback that I believe you have a relationship with, Jalen Hurts from the Eagles, right?
That's right.
How has that relationship come about, and what has it meant to you as you go through this process?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, what I like the most about him is how authentic he is, and then our relationship has just grown throughout this period of time. But one thing that I always mention to people is before I got to Alabama, during the recruiting process, his dad and my dad communicated before I got to Alabama. You know, it's different being a recruit during a period of time and actually being on roster and going, you know, and experience, you know, what it's like. And so just being able to hear his thought process is definitely you know, refreshing for me as a player before touching foot at Alabama. And so I remember that unique experience that my dad had with him and his dad, and then now being able to go through this draft prep as well. And so it's been great just to build our relationship, and he's definitely part of my journey for sure.
Yeah, and his entry to the league was interesting too, because second-round pick with a team that had already just signed a quarterback to a long-term extension, and he becomes the starter over time. Obviously, there are a lot of different ways to get to where you want to go in the NFL, but, I mean, do you look at a journey like his and as a possible example of something you might be able to follow?
What I take from him is seeing what right looks like. You know, throughout the whole period of time with him, keeping his head down, continues to grind, keep refining his skill set, and just keep on elevating and being the best version of himself, whether it's on the field and off the field. And look at the impact that he had off the field. You know, people misinterpret that as well. And so, of course, you know, as a player that's inspired to go to the NFL, it's always unique that each starting quarterback in the league does something right, you know, and they have a certain skill set and certain presence about them that makes them a starting quarterback. He's definitely one of them for me.
You ran the 40 at the Combine to great acclaim. Well, not everybody does. Not everybody does the Combine workouts anymore. What went into your decision to do that, and what'd you make of the reaction?
Yeah, so like I'm very competitive. So everything that I had along this period of time of draft prep, I took advantage of it, and I prepared my butt off for it. And so it was one step closer. You know, I think it's just every step along the way when it comes to draft prep. And so that's something that I had. And so it's all about putting my best foot forward. And so, and I remember, you know, dreaming of going through the NFL process. And so now it's here. So I'm just excited.
Our GM, Mike Tannenbaum, has a question for you. Mike?
Jalen, congratulations on your career. As an evaluator, I'd be curious to get your feedback on what area of your game do you think you need to improve to have a good career at the next level?
I think not getting complacent. I think every area of my game, when it comes to being a better football player, is important to elevate my game. And so I think the biggest thing is being an NFL quarterback for sure, but also understanding what makes you unique at playing the football position. And so coming in, it's so important to build the trust of the coaching staff, keep on building each and every day, not getting complacent. Also, it's gonna be better. It's gonna be a veteran in the room, and that has experience and knows what right looks like in the league and staying in the league and being durable. And so it's all about, building a trust in whatever way of fashion. Every system is different, and so whatever system I'm going into, it's all about mastering that system.
Jalen, I know you've been on a lot of visits, pre-draft visits with teams. Giants, one of the teams that you visited. I'm sure you're familiar with Malik Neighbors, last year's first-round pick of them from his SEC days. The idea of pairing up with someone like that in the NFL, how exciting is that to you?
So I played against him my junior year. I love to team up with him. He's definitely a unique player. He can play for sure. And so he's definitely a weapon that you can utilize on the offensive side of the ball. And so to be able to throw to him, that would be definitely a key resource for us. All
right, 13 days now until the NFL draft, where we find out where Jalen Milroe's next step will lead him. Jalen, thanks so much for joining us on NFL Live. Good luck to you in the draft and moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you.
Take care. He upped his game last year on his way to a national championship. He led the FBS in total QBR and completion percentage while ranking second in yards per dropback. Significant improvement over his numbers when he was at Kansas State, where his QBR was 21 points lower and he averaged over 2 yards less per drop back. So good timing on that improvement, and we are delighted to be joined by national champion quarterback Will Howard. Will, want to talk a little bit about the upcoming NFL draft. You have said you believe you're the best quarterback in this draft. What is it that you think sets you apart?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, man, I think, if you don't have that belief in yourself, then what are you doing? So, I'm a confident guy. I feel like you have to have that intrinsic confidence in yourself. I believe that I have the arm strength. I believe I have the accuracy, all the physical traits. But I think really what sets me apart is my mind, my ability to deal with adversity. I've seen pretty much every situation that a college quarterback could see in my, 40-some-odd starts. I've played a lot of football. I've seen a lot of stuff. Not a lot phases me. And I'm an elite processor. I feel like my ability to assess what the defense is doing and what we're doing, to combat that, I think that's what really sets me apart.
You and your team's run to the national championship, unprecedented because first year of this playoff format. So take us through what the last kind of 3 months have been like for you, starting with the playoff and going through your draft preparation so far.
Yeah, it's been all over the place, man. Going through that playoff, it was the longest season I've ever been a part of. I've never played a college season that's been that long. 16 games, kind of felt like an NFL season. And then straight into it. I mean, we got about a week to enjoy it and celebrate while being here in Columbus with the boys. But, then I went out to Southern California and started training for the draft and got ready for the combine and then got ready for pro day. And here we are, man. And I'm excited. I'm excited to figure out where I'm going to end up. My year at Ohio State was unbelievable. And, it was the best decision I ever made. But, I'm really excited for the next step and to see where I end up.
Our GM, Mike Tannenbaum, has a question for you. He joins the interview now. Mike?
Hey, Will, congratulations on a great ending to a good career. At this point, you've been poked, prodded,